Welcome to Odd Musings with, what's the name, Jim?
Scott and Brett.
You heard him.
All right.
I'm
Thanks,
D.
Steve.
Snyder.
Welcome to Odd Musings 178. It's going to be a Mandalorian day.
Woohoo!
Woohoo.
It's your safe space from the election where we are just talking fun stuff.
Yeah, and don't worry, we'll give you your numbers. We're going to give you Kickstarter numbers later.
Kickstarter numbers, that's right.
Yes. It's the only numbers we're covering today.
The Kickstarter poll is closed and we have a final count.
Yes.
So we will be sharing that later on. And we'll be talking Star Wars and Sean Connery and his legendary career and so much more.
Yes, it's gonna be a good show here today, and we've got to cover a little bit of business as always here, and pull up the ad read. That's one thing I didn't pull up this morning here today because we've got a great sponsor in. Oh, it looks like before you start, it looks like y'all decorated back there.
Yes, we did.
Started already.
Christmas is here. Yes.
I haven't heard before we get into it. Any radio stations playing Christmas music yet?
The ones that I know usually do it have not started yet.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll have to definitely check that out because usually it's we've had some start as early as November 1st.
Yep. Now they don't always do November 1st, but
No.
But I think this year, I think they're missing out by not going early because we are getting a lot of feedback from folks that they are ready with the kind of year that they had. You know, like even Halloween felt like it didn't happen. You know, it was a very odd year as a whole. You know, 4th of July was basically canceled. We didn't have the fireworks in Detroit like we normally have. And so a lot of people are just ready for a true holiday again.
Yep. And I think I actually felt like I did get a chance to celebrate a little bit. I went down and saw our buddy Kevin Meinert, and they had a really good trick-or-treating going on in their town. So I got to sit outside and help hand out candy in that. But let's get some business in real quick. We'll talk some more about that in a moment here because our first sponsor, of course, is Loringer Family Chiropractic Center, PC. This is our Facebook page here and shows off a little bit of what they do there. You can definitely check them out. They even have a call now button, which is really cool. So you can definitely give them a call at that 734-697-4244. That's their Belleville, Michigan location. But at Loringer Family Chiropractic Wellness Chiropractic Center, they take great pride in providing the finest chiropractic care to each and every patient. They offer the on-site digital x-rays, massage therapy, orthotics by foot levers, young living essential oils, aromatherapy, full line of vitamins, all in a family-oriented environment. As I said, give them a call at 734-697-4244. You can visit them at LoringerFamilyChiropractic.com. We have a link at Odd Musings for you for that. Or if you can find them on Facebook at Loringer Family Chiropractic Center, PC. And definitely check them out. A lot of great things going on there. As always, I'm there pretty much every week because it helps me stay healthy and moving and not locking up. And with all the injuries I had years ago, it keeps me feeling much, much better. In fact, I've been working on my foot. It's been giving me problems, and I'm probably about 95% better now since we figured out what the problem was, and they've been able to adjust that and get things back to normal again for that. So definitely check them out. And then we also have
Team Titans Real Estate. Why? Because you matter. Want to give a shout out to our newest listing here that's just going live now. It's over in Royal Oak. It's a lovely 3-bedroom brick ranch. It's got a 1-car detached garage. It's got a basement also, just over 1,000 square feet. So it's a great home. It does need some updates. So this house is perfect for people who they want to put a little sweat equity into the home. The home is priced accordingly. So it's priced at $200,000 on the nose. This type of home, if you fully update the kitchen and bathroom and do a few other things, can easily be $240,000 and up. So there's definitely room to build your own equity if you're willing to do a little bit of updates to the house. But 1.5 bathrooms, extra deep lot. One bonus is the furnace. The furnace itself is about 7 years old, but they had to update the motor. They replaced the motor back in September, so it has a brand new motor. So it's virtually brand new, that furnace. So if you're interested, if you're looking at a house like this in Royal Oak, which values have gone up drastically over the years, so a $200,000 house is priced really well. even with the updates. And if you're fine with the house the way it is, then you just leave it and don't do any updates, because structurally the house is sound. So give us a call if you want this house or any other house. We'd love to show you some homes, take you around, get you pre-qualified. And as a reminder too, if you're not looking to buy in the near future, check out your interest rates. Give us a call. We might be able to hook you up with someone who can refinance you at a much lower rate and save you a lot of money. We had some friends who recently did that, and it really saved them a lot.
Yeah, I've got a few people in my circle that did the same thing, and definitely it's a good time to look at that with interest rates low and sooner than later, because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Historically, with elections, they will stay constant up through the election, but once things start moving forward, different candidates will have different policies, and some of them are on record with policies that will raise interest rates. Some of them will keep them down. But you don't know which direction that's going to go. But what you do know is what it is today, and take advantage of that, get it locked in. And because they can't go much lower than, even if things got lower down the road, it can't go much lower than it is. So,
yep. And I know
the
people that
potential
refinanced
for it going up is much greater than it going down.
Yep. And I have some people I know that they refinanced last year and they were able to refinance again this year for an even lower rate
because it dropped so much.
Right. And so definitely check into it. You say, well, we just refinanced, check into it. It's definitely worthwhile. And never hurts to check if you can save yourself some money.
Right. So give us a call, 586-549-6096, or check us out, our Facebook page, Team Titans RE. There you go.
Excellent. We got Kevin Miner jumping in. Like I said, I got to see him over the weekend.
Yeah.
So time with him and Brandy and the kids, and had a good time. Tried to steal their candy and they wouldn't let me. So
no,
no. They didn't have any good stuff in it. They had a couple good Hershey bars, but I wanted a Heath bar.
So see, the beauty of Halloween though is I don't need no stinking kids. I can just go buy my own candy. And so that's what I did. And I picked out, and I put on 7 pounds this last week.
Oh, geez.
I'm already down. I already dropped 1 of those pounds, though, so just 6 to get back. But I decided to enjoy. I had a lot of Reese's pumpkins.
Oh yeah, those and the Easter ones are kind of like your kryptonite.
Oh, I cannot say no. And certain people who reside in this office with me keep buying that. So now I'm like, I can't have any more. I gotta stop.
She wants you fatter. She wants you plumper. We need an office Santa.
Fattening me up like a Thanksgiving turkey.
Yep, and she's gonna devour you.
Yeah. So no, but it, you gotta enjoy life sometimes. So I allowed myself to enjoy the weekend and some fun Halloween homemade treats and different things like that, and it was a good time.
That's good. Yeah, and kind of
I was bummed though, because usually a lot of people know I do costuming with the 501st and stuff, and I really enjoy Halloween, dressing up, passing out candy. It was dead in our neighborhood, and
I've heard mixed across
was being allowed. Well,
that's part of the problem is nobody really announced anything. And like we called here where I live at the office and said, hey, what's going on? And they go, we're not making any announcements. If people do it, that's on them. We're not saying yay or nay because we don't want to get sued either way or something like that. And I was like, well, I don't think you get sued either way if you said you could trick or treat. But
that's what everybody fears. It's like, if we get a lawsuit, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah. Well, and we've got new rules here in the state of Michigan that if we go anywhere, they want to get your name and phone number for contact tracing. So,
yeah. So I've been to 4 restaurants since that was implemented. 2 of the restaurants, they said, listen, here's the list. If you want to sign it, sign it. If you don't. We don't care. And they sat. So we didn't sign, and we were sat and we were served. One of the restaurants said, we have to have you fill it out, but we don't care what you fill out. So we put Gretchen Whitmer's name and number on there. And then the 4th restaurant was strict. So we left. We said, nope, we're not eating here then. Yeah. So we, I don't care if they personally, and we were very polite about it. We're regulars there, and they already know my information because they know who we are. They know our orders before we sit down, and we tip them very well. So they weren't happy that we left, but I was polite about it and just said sorry, but I'm not giving Gretchen Whitmer my number.
Yeah, I personally don't agree with that. I feel it's an invasion of privacy and it goes against the HIPAA law because of the fact that everyone wants to cite that with anything medical. And like you're saying now that with contact tracing, I have to give it. And that sounds like you're going to call me out and say, well, somebody had it, but and you were there. So now you're going to try to force me to quarantine when there's actually no proof that they were there at the same time I was.
There's no proof of that. And there's no proof that the test was accurate. I don't know this person. There's no proof that they were anywhere near me or anything. It's just, I'm not part of it. And people want to tell me like, well, you put stuff online and your information, you give out your phone number for your realtor online. Yes, but I can still, whether I choose to give the information or not, I can still partake in it. This is saying if you choose not to, you have to leave.
Yeah. And
I'm not going to play that game. I'll go home and make my own food then.
Yeah.
It's cheaper.
It is.
And lower calories.
Well, considering what you put on 7 pounds, you better get to work.
Oh gosh. Yeah. I felt awful yesterday. One of the places we ate, I just like, I'm done. I gotta get back on track. I felt so gross. But anyways, it was delicious. So it was worth the agony.
Well, good thing it's only once a year. Of course, now we got coming into Christmas season, and
that's the problem is the holidays where you really enjoy food, like really, like the bad food. It's all comfort foods, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year. It's all jam packed, and it's all in the months that I can't go outside to burn it off. So, but that's okay. I enjoyed it. How about you? So you went to Kevin's and had a good time there.
Yeah, we had a good time there. We had some good Mexican with him on Friday night, local Mexican place I like to go to. Saturday, him and I made a run to get some stuff from supplies for the day, candy, some food we needed, and things like that. And we brought down. Mom made her pasta salad. It's got all kinds of meats and cheeses in it, and they all seem to enjoy that. We made breakfast in the morning on Saturday. Sunday, we went out to the breakfast place we took you to when we were there last time.
That was a really good place.
Yeah, it was excellent.
What's the name of that place?
Cosmos,
that's it.
Yep. It's a great restaurant and just fantastic breakfast. I guess they got a good lunch too, but I've never been there for anything but breakfast. And one of those places that I think if I showed up for lunchtime, I'd still want to do breakfast because they do it so well.
All right.
And so, but yeah, we got to hang out there and, watch a little football in the afternoon. And then we went and saw Dracula, the original Bela Lugosi. Took all but Jill. They were showing it at the local theater. Walked down there, which was great. So I got some popcorn and the kids all enjoyed that. We walked back and then by that time it was about 3:30, 3:45. So the kids started getting ready to go trick or treating. We set up outside in the front and handed out candy. Kevin and I did that. Mom did it for a little bit with us at the beginning, and then got a little chilly for it with the wind, but it was still a great night out. And everybody there was tons of people out in their town, and he lives on that side street, so we could see the main street everybody's walking down. You can see it just fast, bam, bam, and then every once in a while we get somebody that cut down our way. It's kind of like when you're watching The Walking Dead and like none of them see you, and then like one sees you and they come your way, but don't draw the crowd out. So, but still gave a fair amount of candy. Everybody's having a good time. It felt like I told Mom, I says, I loved the fact that it felt like, I love towns like that because they enjoy the Halloween trick-or-treating. It was a good time. We haven't had good crowds here where I live at in a long time. So mainly because I think in our area, they do so many of those trunk and treats and things like that on Halloween night, they're just hitting all those places. No time to actually go door to door.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, I mean, the idea of the trunk or treats are nice, but I think it's killed a lot of Halloween as a whole.
Yeah.
The amount of people who go out now, not counting COVID, it's so much less than when I was growing up. I mean, the streets were full before. Now, it's kind of sad.
Yeah,
like my neighborhood at least.
Well, like I said here, we used to see people where I live at. They come in from outside all the time because it's a manufactured home park. So people like to come in these places because it's their tighter corridor. So everybody's close together. So you boom, 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 boom. But as the people moved out of here, there's still some empty lots, things like that. Since 2006, it's gone down. Prior to that, it used to be really good. We'd see sometimes 200-300 people at tops at the height of it. But even at the lower end for the longest time, it was still around like 80 to 100 and didn't even set up last year because it just wasn't worth it. The year before, I think I got like 20.
Right.
So just didn't even mess with it. So, which is a shame. But over the weekend, while sitting at having coffee on Saturday morning, we got some news and the unfortunate passing of Sean Connery this weekend at the age of 90.
Yes.
So he was, of course, known for James Bond, Darby O'Gill, and The Little People, and he competed in Mr. Universe, 1953.
Yeah, I always forget about that part.
Yeah, people don't talk about that too much. It's all about Bond and things like that. So this is from the BBC. I checked that first when I first heard to make sure it wasn't just a fake one because you get so many fake death announcements and that.
Right.
Of course, he won the Oscar in '88 for his role in The Untouchables, playing an Irishman with a Scottish accent. Worked out great. That's actually one of my favorite roles of his outside of the Bond and all them. But I loved The Untouchables. He was a Sir, got knighted. And of course, his last film role was the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. There he is with his Oscar, and that's the finger telling Trebek what he's going to do to his mom.
I gotta say what I want to get your out of this, but the Saturday Night Live skits, I feel like that might have been like a second renaissance period for Sean Connery because he had retired by that point from acting, so he was kind of out of the public eye. And then with the Saturday Night Live skits, it kind of like revived the interest in him, I believe.
I think it introduced it to the millennial generation, and
yes,
they went back and were able to see some of the stuff he's done. And he's got such a great filmography. If you really go look, I mean, there's a lot of great movies he did over there besides the Bond movies and stuff like that. And there's some that were just kind of okay, also in that same light. But he's just got a wide range. He was definitely a great action star, but he could act. And even though I said, well, he's kind of the same in everything, it fit for all the roles he did.
Right.
So, and he played Irish before. Molly Maguire's. He played an Irish American in Pennsylvania, Miners. That was a great movie. Him and Richard Harris. And a lot of people aren't as familiar with that one. And of course, we joked about him just last week about the outfit he wore. Was that Zargov or something?
Oh yeah.
So and then of course
last week even.
Yeah. So and like Robin, Mary, and stuff like that. So he's done a whole mix. First Night he played, an aged King Arthur there. So.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely a whole mix of stuff in that, and always will be known as James Bond, which is funny because he almost didn't get the role because he was not the first choice, but he was the ultimate choice on that, and really set the precedence for the role that even the living James Bonds have said that he was the James Bond. So, it was pretty cool on that. So, and of course, on his birthday, we have, as created by our own Scott here, is Talk Like Sean Connery Day.
Talk Like Sean Connery Day. Yes.
Yep.
He'll live on.
He will live on. And we will remember him every year as long as we have this podcast and that. So, so 25th of October, 25th of August is Talk Like Sean Connery Day.
August
So
25th.
definitely check that out. And
he will live on.
Yes. And all that. So what else have you been doing this week before we get into the Mandalorian?
Yes. Well, this week we've got, let's share this. As we were talking earlier, we have the tabulated votes calculated for our Kickstarter for Wretched Realms, and the numbers are in. So we successfully funded another one. Thank you to everybody who took part in it. I'm feverishly working to finish up the interiors. The delivery date is set for in January 2021, so I'm well on track for that. But it was a very successful campaign. This was our third campaign in 4 months, I think. So we're doing well. When you add it up, we're at roughly 10 grand or so that we've done between the three campaigns. Mm-hmm. So Bardstone Publishing is off to a really good start. We're very happy with that. So
considering that we started it during COVID and we did not have any in-person appearances to actually promote it, I think we definitely have a great thing going on here, and I'm glad for everybody that's been supporting us along the way.
Yeah, and this is a Western story. This one, overall, it's an anthology series, so every issue is its standalone story. But being a Western, we knew this would be a little bit more of a challenge to get out there. It's not the same as a Dracula or Jack the Ripper, which has much more of a fan base. I think it's an easier sell. than a Western. So I was very happy. We were thrilled to get Sergio Cariello on board, and he worked with Kevin Meinert to create our cover here that you see on the screen. So had an absolute blast getting to this point. Now I'm slaving away trying to get this done. So, which will be fine. Like I said, I'm well ahead of schedule. So I'm loving how it's coming out, putting final touches on. Then I'll be sending out for proofs and all that stuff. So now, Bartson, we're going to take a little break, for the holidays here. We got, everybody gets busy. I'll finish fulfilling this. And then our next Kickstarter will be coming probably February for Poe Macabre Master Issue 2 by Kevin E. Meinert. And that one, he's got some guest writers and artists. Brett writing one of the stories that is in that book. So we're excited for that. So so keep tuned. You can follow us at Bardstone Publishing on Facebook to stay up to date on that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it came out great. It was fun. We closed it out with our normal podcast last Wednesday, and everything went really good there. And then we'll check in with Sean's before we close out the day too. Get you all some numbers on that because Sean's got another week to go, I believe. So we'll check on that too. Actually, we can do it now if you got it up.
Yeah, let me get it here. Sean is Scarlet. Let me reshare that. Chrome, Scarlet, share. Sean's doing well. He's got 6,400, 160 backers, 8 days to go. So maybe we can have him on next week to give the final push, him or Rodney or both.
Yeah.
We'll give a final push to get them over the finish line there. But I want to see where they're at they've been killing it with their
stretch goals. Yeah.
Where's their stretch goal list? They have look at it. They have 8 billion rewards. So you whatever you want, they have it.
And there's a lot of original art available too. So that's what's really cool.
Yes. Stretch goals. Here we go. So let's see. Right now they are working towards the sticker, the Kappa sticker by Jamie Snell. If they hit 6,600, so they're just $140 away from hitting the next reward. But look at all of these things you get. So if you pledge on their series right now, you get all these stretch goals.
Yeah,
they're already achieved, and I think with a week left, I think we're well on track to get Scarlett's map poster that will show the locations.
And Sean really wants that one to happen. So
that's right. So let's make Sean's dream come true.
Yeah, so definitely check that out.
Let me grab the link here. I'll post it in the comments there.
All right.
Oh, wait, I can't do that. Oh, wait, I go on to Odd Musings here.
Yeah, you can also put it in private chat, and then I can copy it.
Oh, can I? Okay,
yeah.
Let's do it that way. Private. I've never used private chat. Wait, that question mark probably shouldn't be there.
Well, we'll see here.
Yeah, I can re-grab it.
I'll see if it works.
If it doesn't, here's it.
Oh, it worked. It worked just fine.
It worked? Okay,
yeah.
Perfect.
Yep, so I'll drop it in here to the comments for everybody.
Sean's a great friend of the show, and if he can help support his project, I know you won't be disappointed. He puts out quality work.
Yep, we've always enjoyed everything he's done, so that'll be cool. So we had the world premiere for episode 9 or chapter 9 of The Mandalorian.
That's right. Oh,
yeah, I pulled up the IMDb page here, and mainly because I want to be able to show. We had a couple guest stars on it, and people didn't realize.
That's the thing with the Mandalorian as a whole. Every episode, they seem to get amazing cameo guest stars.
Yep. We brought back Amy Sedaris. We might remember her from the first season. She works one of the hangars there on Mos Eisley.
Yep, who made a reference to Gremlins, asking if it ever divides or splits, she'll want one of the offsprings.
Which was really cool. And then I don't know if you grabbed it. I saw the name in the credits, but John Leguizamo was Gore Koresh at the beginning. Just the voice. Just the voice.
I did not see that.
Yep. So, and another one that I found very interesting, not a big star, not really well known, but the name kind of struck me. I was like, Isaac Singleton Jr. I know I'd seen this name before. I'm going to pull up his page here. He is a voice actor. He's done on-screen acting, but we know him from from Transformers Fall of Cybertron. Okay. He was in Pirates of the Caribbean, Planet of the Apes. He's voiceover work. Yeah, voiceover work, though. He is the voice of Thanos for the last several years in a lot of different Marvel games and shows, Guardians of the Galaxy, things like that. So he's been around. He was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as the Vicar for a couple episodes, things like that. So he's been around as a character actor for many years, and he's popped in there. And I was looking at the guy going, I recognize him a little bit, and it's just probably because I've seen him in other stuff. But it didn't pop out as like, the guy I truly know, but it's like, I knew why he looked familiar for some reason. So I thought that was cool.
It's funny how different Amy Sedaris looks in The Mandalorian versus when you see her every day.
Well,
it looks like Joe Pesci in The Mandalorian.
It's the hair. If you look at her here, she's got the blonde hair. That's how I know her from other stuff. Right. But she's got the afro going on basically, and
I think they get rid of her eyebrows too in Mandalorian or something.
Yeah, or they bleach them out, something. So. Yeah, she's definitely got a different look to her than you're used to, and if you didn't know who she was, you wouldn't recognize her right off the bat. So, and then of course we've
really
got.
Cool.
Yep, go ahead.
Go ahead. I think you're about to say him.
W. Earl Brown.
Yes.
Now, here's the thing. You mentioned him, and I was like, I know this guy, and everything else. People know him from Deadwood, but actually, he was in There's Something About Mary. He played Warren, her brother.
Oh. Interesting.
He's a Beans and Franks. And he's of course another character actor that's got a huge resume. I mean, I just scrolled like 4 times and I'm not even past 2013. He's actually in the Lone Ranger too.
And the interesting dynamic in this show is he's the bartender in Deadwood.
Yes.
Where he plays off Timothy Olyphant in that. And in this one, he played the bartender again with Timothy Olyphant. So that was kind of an homage to that as well, which is very cool.
Yeah, and then he's from Kentucky. I was just thinking, I was like, was he in Olyphant had that series, was it Justified? He's in True, he was there. Let's see. I don't see it. He was in Longmire, though, but he played a mustache ranger in The Lone Ranger. They came out with the Johnny Depp. So I don't see Justified on here. Oh, no, there it is. He wasn't Justified for an episode. Played Cal Wallace. So, and the reason I say that is Justified was set in Kentucky, and they seem to get a lot of actors from Kentucky to actually be in that series. Which, if you've not seen Justified, it was a really good show, and Timothy Olyphant was great in that. So, and Olyphant, he's kind of slimmed down since we've seen him in what's the one on Netflix that we liked that got canceled?
Santa Clarita Diet.
Yeah. He looked like he went on a diet.
He was very, very slim. I mean, he's 6 feet tall, 165 according to the internet, which that's very thin for 6 feet tall. Which gave him that lanky look wearing Boba Fett's costume or armor. It made him look like a bad cosplayer who didn't have clothes that fit him properly. But that was meant to be. He's not wearing armor that was fit to him. He's wearing armor that would technically fit Tamora Morrison, which is like 6 inches shorter.
Right. And then we're kind of covering the just the people we saw in this that were kind of special guests.
Just a warning, there will be spoilers in this conversation.
Yeah, and here's one right now. If you didn't know, it is because it's listed as Boba Fett, Tamora Morrison. We've speculated for a while. Is he going to play Captain Rex? Is he going to be Boba Fett? Is he going to be both? I think we've learned he's just going to be. I think he's just going to be Boba Fett through this. If we see a Captain Rex, I have a feeling they'll get somebody else. I'm going to disagree on that. I think we're going to get Rex. I think he's going to do both because Rex is around at this time. We're supposed to get Ahsoka, and Rex is with Ahsoka. So I think we're going to get him. Well, and here's where I disagree on that, and it goes to the fact that they confirmed that at the end of Return of the Jedi, the one guy there was Rex. They kind of they made that canon now, so they can get anybody to play that since he's now going to be actually aged even further than where Tamara Morrison is now. So they can get an older person to be very similar structure, to have the beard and everything else. And I think with makeup, they can make him look like it won't have to be Tamara Morrison. And it kind of frees him up just to play Boba Fett.
Very easy to age him another 10 years to be.
I'm sure they could.
15 years he has to age him to be Rex, if I remember right.
Yeah.
And then once you throw a beard on him, it won't be much of a stretch.
Yeah.
But we'll see. But I'm still holding out hope for a scene. If we can have a scene of Boba playing off of Rex, that would be awesome. Because we got to get some things addressed with Boba, because if we get Rex into the storyline, this is an interesting story arc in that Boba is kind of this in-between thing. Is he a Mandalorian or is he not? The clones, is he a clone or is he not? Well, we know he's a clone, but does the clones accept him as a clone? Yes. You know what I mean? Like, is he part of that world, or is he part of the Mando world, or is he part of neither world? So there are some interesting story threads they could explore with this. So we'll see.
Well, and that's one thing they talked about in, as we know from episode 2 of Star Wars, he requested one thing, and that was one of his own. And
an unaltered clone.
Right. And so at that point, is he truly, how much of a clone is he versus how much of a test tube baby, just put it that way, is he compared? Since he's now, he does age naturally, he's not progressed. Was he, did they do a different, basically combination to create him than they did with the other clone? So so how much of a clone is he really versus just an offspring?
Right. So. And being a clone, is it kind of like being a Mandalorian? Will the clones not see him as a clone because he wasn't raised like they were? He didn't go through the programming and he didn't serve with them on the front lines and those kind of things. So there's some interesting potential story options here of showcasing how maybe Boba Fett is a man who doesn't fit anywhere. He's kind of this mixed heritage thing where nobody's accepting him because of this. So,
well, and that's the thing. It's we know that from the different stuff that Jango Fett, his father, was a Mandalorian and then was removed from the Order.
That's my understanding.
So how much that gets into, we'd have to see.
Yeah. The hard part too is, like, for me, so much of my head is filled with the previous storyline from the expanded universe. So I have trouble remembering, like, okay, was that storyline canon, or is that now considered Legends?
Well, and that's where a lot of that, I think, it falls into Legends. I know on between Clone Wars and I think maybe even, was he in Rebels too? I know in Clone Wars we saw Boba as like an early, like a 13, 14 years old, and of course he was up and coming bounty hunter. He had a group, and then of course this is post.
He was traveling with Cad Bane and Aura Singh, which we now know from Solo is not alive anymore. But Cad Bane, I believe, was confirmed to have survived on. So we could theoretically even get a Cad Bane cameo into this at some point, because him and Boba were together for a long time.
Yeah, there's a gap in the Boba's history now that hasn't been fully explained in current canon. From the time he was around like 14 till we see him in, actually technically, A New Hope, because that's where we see him next. When he just with Jabba but doesn't say anything, and you get to know who he is more in Empire, and then of course when we see him disappear at the end of Jedi, now we know that he did survive the Sarlacc pit. His armor definitely survived, but it had disappeared. So whatever happened when he escaped the Sarlacc pit, he didn't have his armor, or he shed it then, and the Jawas picked it up.
All right, so here's what we know, because we have the flashback scene with Cobb Vanth showing how Cobb Vanth acquired the armor. He mentions the night of the Death Star exploding and what occurred, and then how he left. So from when Boba Fett fell in the Sarlacc pit to when the Jawas got his armor, only a couple weeks have gone by. So it's not a great amount of time. So it's not like Boba Fett was digesting for years in the belly of the beast. Somehow he got out. We don't know how yet. I've got an interesting theory on that. But we see the armor in the Jawas. So the Jawas acquired the armor. So theoretically, Boba Fett's armor would have been in that area of where those Jawas frequent. They couldn't have gone too far because only a couple weeks have gone by. So Boba Fett, I think, was in the area where they found the armor.
Mm-hmm.
That area also being where Cobb Vanth.
It is. I got it right here. It is Cobb Vanth, Vanth.
Yeah. So I think it wasn't far from where they're living. Okay. Mos Pelgo is that city.
Right.
It's located in the northern hemisphere of Tatooine. Now, if you look what's in the northern hemisphere of Tatooine, you also have Jabba's palace and the northern Dune Sea.
So that's what I was considering. They didn't get into it in this episode, but I figured it had to have been within range of Jabba's palace.
Yep.
Now the Sarlacc pit. Now that we see cave, we'll get into the story more in that in a minute. But when they talk about the Sarlacc pit, is this the same Sarlacc pit that Boba fell into?
Right.
And
that's
maybe tying in the Krayt Dragon, that's how he was able to escape.
So here's some clues.
Okay.
In Return of the Jedi, the location of the Sarlacc is called the Great Pit of Carkoon.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at maps of Tatooine, now, once again, we have legends versus modern canon, so they can change things. But according to
Filoni and Favreau have been really good about reaching into the legends to bring stuff in.
Exactly. They love the legend stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The northern Dune Sea is by Jabba's palace. The Great Pit of Cancun is in the Dune Sea. Now, there is a western Dune Sea also, but that's really far from Jabba's. Mm-hmm. So I'm assuming the Pit of Carkoon is in the northern Dune Sea. In the episode, they are looking at an abandoned Sarlacc lair. So we're seeing the lair of where the Sarlacc would have burrowed into the ground, but then its mouth would have gone upward to where we see the Sarlacc. Mm-hmm. They said, Cobb Vanth said, well, there's no such thing as an abandoned Sarlacc lair. And he said, well, not unless the Sarlacc was eaten.
Right.
So the theory that they're floating out there, some fans, and I'm buying it, is shortly after Boba Fett was eaten by the Sarlacc, this Krayt Dragon arrived soon after, attacked that Sarlacc, and in the process of ripping it open, Fett fell out. And that's how he escaped. He had to shed his armor from the acid, and it was all damaged. And the theory being the Sand People are who picked up Fett and nursed him back to health, because the Sand People also are tracking this dragon and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's the theory that's being floated by certain people. I'm buying it right now. I mean, I'm not married to it. If it turns out to be different, I don't care. But it makes sense. The location of Jabba's palace, the location of the Sarlacc pit, the location of Mos Pelgo, it all matches up.
Yeah.
So I'm having a feeling that's the direction we're going to see this go. Now, in the old expanded universe, what happened is Boba Fett kind of shot his way out. The armor was all decayed, was all burned off and stuff. And the bounty hunter Dengar found him and nursed him back to health in the old expanded universe. But I don't think they'll go that route.
No. I have a feeling, based on what we saw, and so we'll get more into the episode here in a second, but I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't, however he got rested or healed, and heck, not too far from Jabba's palace, he could have gone back there. Because at the end of end of that sequence in Jedi, where everybody left. I mean, it was like killed everybody on the skiffs, and Han, Luke, the droids, they all took off,
right?
With Lando, and so anything he could have got out and made his way back to the palace, and rested there, or because he was all burnt and stuff like that, he could have actually been healed and with Tusken Raiders.
Correct.
So, because we do see him with Tusken Raider equipment now.
Right. Yeah. The Ed scene, you see him with a gaffy stick. You see him with the Tusken Raider rifle.
Yeah.
Now, I paused it and looked at it and enhanced it. It doesn't look like he's wearing Tusken Raider robes, though. At first, I thought he was, and that it looked very black.
Mm-hmm.
But I assumed it was the shadowing from the sunset. But when I pause it and look at it closer, to me, it looks like it's actually black fabric. So it's hard to tell with the way the lighting is, though. But,
right.
So we'll see. But I'm enjoying where that's going. The other thing is Timothy Oliphant's character, Cobb Vanth.
Mm-hmm.
This is also interesting. He actually first appears in the Star Wars series Aftermath, the novels, which shows us what happens immediately after the fall of the Empire. And he's one of those characters. And that was widely billed as this was canon, this series. It was going to, it's going to show where the Empire went and all this. And then they dropped it. It kind of disappeared, that whole storyline, which I always wondered, like, why did they go through all this effort and they didn't really do anything with it? Yeah. And I have a feeling bringing Cobb Vanth in here is not an accident. I think they're really showing that they're going back to the Aftermath storyline to revive that and take it somewhere.
Yeah, I agree with that. I read about that being because I had not read those books and I had not heard anything really good about them from Star Wars fans.
I read the first book. Mm-hmm. Overall, it was okay, but
the basics.
My problem with those books was they scrapped all of their Star Wars artists or authors, and they went with all new authors for Disney. Mm-hmm. And it felt like fan fiction. It didn't. There's a certain vocabulary used in Star Wars, and I felt like these authors didn't get it, and it felt like a fan fiction story instead of official Star Wars stories like I had with the expanded universe. So I just could not get into it.
Yeah, when I looked up Cobb Vanth and I read it was cited in different things about the Aftermath series, and basically the story he tells is basically what happened. There's more to it in the Aftermath than what it was told, but I think this falls in the realm of the Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's truth from a certain point of view.
Yes.
So without them going to tell him the full story, Vanth told his story, and he's sticking to
it. Doug posted an interesting thing. He thinks the armor, the acetate, and the clothing holding it together. This leads into another thing. I agree, Doug, because they had some brutal scenes with the acid from the Krayt Dragon. You see those bodies dissolve as it lands on them?
Yeah, it was like a Dungeons and Dragons acid dragon just spitting it, and as soon as it hit, there's like they were gone.
But the armor survived, and between that, it surviving the acid like that, also showing the blaster hitting Timothy Oliphant wearing the armor. I think they're implying this is actually legitimate Beskar armor. Yeah. Which, going back to season 1, when the reveal was that the Mandalorian wasn't Boba Fett, we saw he was a different character, and they talked about Beskar. A lot of theories floated around that Boba Fett actually had a imitation armor and did not have legitimate Beskar armor. I think they're going back to having it be legitimate.
Yeah. I think so, and I think it'll fit everything we want to fit within that. Even if Boba Fett is not part of a particular order of the Mandalorians, someone could still say that they are Mandalorian. They could still have the armor and stuff like that. And it's like you and I talked about before. This whole Mandalorians never take off their helmet.
Yeah,
that's this particular order within the Mandalorians. It's not the Mandalorians as a whole, because we've seen already through Rebels, especially, how the Mandalorians are.
Even the Clone Wars. Yeah. I mean, Death Watch, who were fanatics of their culture, they took their helmets off all the time. Sabine Wren always had her helmet off. She had her helmet off more than she had it on. There's nothing about this no helmet thing, but at least within the world of the Mandalorian, the character himself, Jin Darren or whatever his real name is, from his point of view, he obviously doesn't know other Mandalorians. He's in a bubble,
right?
Like, he doesn't know of other Mandalorians. He kind of grew up in this bubble, and he believes that this is a rule. Now, is Disney really making this rule? I don't think so, because, like I said,
I think there's more to it than what Filoni and Favreau have revealed yet.
Yeah.
I think this is something that they may explore this season or may come out next season. Because we already know they're greenlit for 3 and they're working on it now. But I think what it is I think this was set up to. They wanted to have the mystery of who this Mandalorian is for as long as possible. So they created this myth within this core of Mandalorians that we saw that he was around, that was in hiding starting in the first season. Now that they've all scattered, and he's now looking for actual Mandalorians.
But here, right, and at the end of season 1, they all left their helmets.
Yeah,
they left their helmets in a pile and left.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So they all abandoned the order, basically. So
now, to Doug's comment, it could be different clan rules. I agree, but in the mind of the Mandalorian himself, it's a rule for all, because if he understood that different Mandalorians take off their helmet, why was he like, the fact that Cobb Vanth took off his helmet shouldn't have been like, oh my God, he's not a real Mandalorian. He took off the helmet. You know what I mean? But him taking off the helmet was the sign to him. And he's like, give me the armor.
Right.
And I think that scene was important because I think it's setting up when he meets Boba Fett.
Yes. And I think it's going to be.
Boba Fett's going to want his armor back.
Yeah.
And the Mandalorian is going to say, no, you can't. So,
and that's where I think, we're going to learn that it was not a rule. That was just that order for whatever reason. But like I said, the same thing. We saw all the Mandalorians fight together. The next thing you know, they're all gone in that first season, and they abandoned their helmets and everything else.
And in the trailer, we see who is potentially Sabine Wren without a helmet. Mm-hmm. So if the Mandalorians because he's out seeking other Mandalorians right now, his worldview is about to expand and realize, wait a minute, there's a ton of legit Mandos out there who don't wear their helmets.
Yeah, and I think that's what we're going to learn. I think a lot of this progression for him to find, he's been tasked with finding the child's people, and his path goes through Mandalorians, and this is where he's going to learn, and as well as the audience too, more about Mandalora, all the culture and stuff like that. So, and that's one thing here. Kevin's got a good point about someone who recognizes who he really is, and I think that's kind of part of it. I think was the initial,
but that's not how they sell it in the show.
Yeah, but he's built it up. They built it up for him as a creed, and I think and when he was taken in by the Mandalorians as a child himself, that was that clan's creed that came about, I think, strictly as a for hiding purposes. So, yeah, that's what Kevin thinks. They adopted the role to hide his identity. So.
Right, but what I'm saying is, in his mind, from the character's point of view, this is the rule for all Mandalorians, which is clearly not the case in canon.
Yeah,
we have tons of Mandalorians who take it off. Even the ones who took him, that was Death Watch that saved them. Death Watch takes their helmet off all the time.
Yes,
so that's why. I think what they're setting up is the Mandalorian is about to have his worldview shattered. He was taught this is what it means to be a Mandalorian. And I think they're setting it up so he has this crisis of faith, so to speak, where it's like, oh my God, everything I taught was wrong. And is it even a real thing? And what does this mean to be a Mandalorian? And I think that's the direction they're going. But Galactic Police Force. Oh, you're going deep. I think that's going deep into this is Doug's comment here. Mm-hmm. They've always been a tribal background and stuff. Bounty hunters, they kind of made them more civilized in the Clone Wars. Like in the old expanded universe, like Boba Fett ends up fighting and becoming their leader and ruling Mandalore and reuniting the tribes. They were very tribal. But they changed so much of that background going into the Clone Wars, where all of a sudden they had developed cities, and I can't speak to what the current.
They're still more of a private planet. They were stuck to their own. They were not looking to be a part of any of the galactic wars or anything like that.
And what's Sabine Wren finding the Blacksaber and to reunite tribes. They were still tribal and had very separate lives. And then you had the section of what's her name that Kenobi loved. Oh God, Duchess.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah,
Duchess Satine. She was trying to bring them more into the modern era, and they were building cities, and that's where Death Watch developed, where they were more purist and they didn't want all that. So the Mandalorians definitely had their own divides and differences. But like even in Clone Wars, there was no Mando that always wore their helmet.
Yeah, I
It
think
just
what we're going
didn't
to see
happen.
is where the current state of Mandalorian is, considering the fact that what we know really in this current canon comes from the animated series they had. So that's going to be, I think, the big reveal through this season is going to be a lot of who are the Mandalorians. Everybody seems to know it. He runs in places like, yeah, I heard Mandalorians are good fighters. They know the rumors, just like they all heard the stories about Jedi. So, but to actually see one is a whole different thing in this universe.
There's a lot of mythology within the universe because, for us as viewers, think of our world here. We have 7 billion people in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And when I had done the math one time, the Jedi at their height, there was only 10,000 Jedi at the height of their existence. Well, we as viewers, we're seeing the stories told that include the Jedi. So for us, it's like, well, everyone knows what a Jedi is. But within that universe, when you took it down to the population of the universe in Star Wars, because remember, they are multiple galaxies and hundreds and hundreds of populated planets. When you translate that to one world of 7 billion, it came out to be like a population of 10 Jedi. So if we heard of some cult overseas of 10 people doing weird mystical stuff, none of us would believe it. We'd be like, well, that's weird. Okay. But it wouldn't be fact for us. It would just be like this weird tribe of people of 10 people who practice this weird Jedi mind trick stuff. So that's the equivalent in the Star Wars universe. And same with Mandalorians. It's one planet out of thousands of populated planets. So how many people actually found and encountered a real Mandalorian?
Right. And that's even like we got here, as I showed in the image here. It's, Cobb Vanth is like, he's heard about him. He knows of him. He knew what the armor was when he saw it.
Now I do hope we have a lot more Cobb Vanth, though. I love Timothy Olyphant in it. He says to the Mandalorian, I hope we see each other again. Do we have Timothy Olyphant in this because of Santa Clarita Diet? It got canceled. They didn't do anymore. It could be they have a contract with him to do a certain number of seasons. So it could be they got to give him some more roles. So hopefully that's going to give us more of him in Mandalorian.
Right. Yeah, I want to show this. We haven't really got into the whole heart of the story. The story is it's a great way to reintroduce the Mandalorian for the second season. And the premise is he's, of course, looking for the people for the child, Baby Yoda, as we like to call him. And so
this particular scene here too.
Yep.
Just to point out, they did this a couple of times with the Crate Dragon, and this scene also, I noticed they changed the aspect ratio and filmed this in IMAX. So, so this and the Crate Dragon scene, you actually see the bars move as it changes ratios.
Yeah, they went from what's called 185 to 1 to 235 to 1, and it gave it the wider screen, almost CinemaScope at that point. Right. A little technical part there, but I love that because it actually brought a lot more into the image of that. Because there's a couple times I'm watching, and also when it happened, I was like, it kind of starts you and he brings you right back into when you're watching the show.
It's a subtle shift, but your brain does that shift in aspect ratio. It does give you that landscape feel. It gives you that bigger than life feel. There's something about mentally that shifts your focus, and it's subtle. But like when that sunset started coming up, you see the bars actually move in and the ratio change, and it suddenly gives you that feeling of Luke standing there looking at the sunsets of Tatooine.
Yeah, but this is kind of the end shot there. I kind of want to share that because it shows, he's got, as you can see, right in here, this is equipment that we saw with the Tusken Raiders, and you think that he's got the robe on, but it's a darker robe, so I'm thinking he's kind of adopted similar survival techniques that they have, and that's where the robe comes in and stuff.
Maybe
like
that's Emperor Palpatine's robe, and he somehow found it after the explosion.
Yeah, but I like that we got to see a speeder again with him on that. But
speaking of speeders, Cobb Vanth speeder.
Oh yeah, he was using a pod racer.
Well, more specifically, Anakin's pod racer.
Yes,
that was one of Anakin Skywalker's pod racer engines from Episode 1. So that was really cool to see. And it's been modified over the years and salvaged into. If you had the fastest pod racer on the planet, you would think somebody would have said they sold it to somebody,
Yes.
And they may have broken it into 2 fast speeders or who knows what. But it was cool to see Anakin's pod racer.
And it had the same sound. So,
Yep.
yeah. But yeah, since we're not going to get too much into the episode itself, the basic premise is, with him on Tatooine again, he goes looking for this Mandalorian, which that's how we find Cobb Vanth. We kind of covered a lot of this in depth. But the premise is they have to partner up with the Sand People, the Tusken Raiders, to defeat the Crate Dragon, which we'd not really seen before, just the skeleton from like episode 1, or sorry, episode 4.
There is a time we see a Crate Dragon in Knights of the Old Republic 2, I believe it is. And what's awesome about that, first of all, I remember when I saw that Crate Dragon, I was so disappointed because it looked nothing like the giant skeleton that was on that we saw with 3PO walking. Yeah. But in that mission on Knights of the Old Republic 2, there's the pod racer engine. Yeah. They practically took the entire mission and made it this episode. The lair looks the same. I was
looking for a good picture of it because I thought there was one. So keep talking.
Okay. The lair looks the same as in Knights of the Old Republic. The mission is to lure the Crate Dragon out using a bantha as bait, exploding the belly of the Crate Dragon. All of these happen, and then at the end they even found a pearl in the Knights of the Old Republic version, and they did that here. So it was really cool. Once again, it shows the depth of love for Star Wars that Dave Filoni has, that he can go back like that and be like, hey, wait, we can use Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, which is you can actually, if you have an Xbox, they have the original games available through backward compatibility to play Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2. Or if you have the old disc, they will play in your Xbox 360 and Xbox One now, and then probably the Xbox that's coming out soon. So
another little tiny subtle touch that was added to this scene is the roar of the Crate Dragon. It's the same as the sound Obi-Wan Kenobi makes when he scares the Sand People away from Luke. Luke is unconscious. This does justice as to why the Sand People said, "Oh crap, we got to run."
Yeah, yeah, and adds to it. It also sets it up being similar area to everything. So, so it's probably some of the similar Sand People that were around for the Lars Owens, area, stuff like that. This is it spitting. You can see it spitting the acid here.
And you really do see the people dissolve.
Yes.
Actively. You just see them disappear. It was like, whoa, this is insane.
Yeah, here's a good in that. So coming out of the thing. And the thing is, they never saw it like fully. It was always had some sand around it. But I like that when they were first talking with the Sand People and they get the model. The Sand People had a model of it and they had a few things around it. And he's like, I don't know if it's that big. And Mandalorian's like, yeah.
Also, a very interesting scientific thing, how the Crate Dragon moves. This is actually possible. Have you ever seen the videos on YouTube for liquefying sand?
No.
Oh my God, it's insane. People have taken hot tubs, and if you blow air through the sand, it causes the sand molecules to vibrate just enough that it acts like water. Okay. So if this Crate Dragon has a system of blowing air somehow, like maybe it has gills or something along the bottom, have air blow out, the sand liquefies and you can swim in it. It's like insane. Look it up on YouTube. Liquefied sand hot tub.
When I first saw it, I was like, it's coming through the town. And I was like at first I was like, is this like a bunch of land sharks? That's what it looked like. Yeah. All these fins coming through. And then when it came up, I was like, oh, it's the dragon. And this is cool.
Here, liquefied sand hot tub. Let's see. Now, I obviously I can't play it, unfortunately, because you know how YouTube is. They'll flag us. But I'm gonna do a still screen shot and share that here. Let's see. Skip ad. Let me get here. Pause. Okay. StreamYard share, because it's bizarre. It really is. Okay, so here's what, like, here they have it going and they threw the kid in and he just goes into the sand. Okay. Let let me just move it somewhere else. Let's see. He's explaining how they did it. But look at they're splashing in it and jumping up and down it. But as soon as they turn the air off, it instantly hardens and it's you sit on top of it. They're talking about like how it breaks up too, like how they blow bubbles through water to break up the surface tension for divers. Let's see. He's explaining how the molecules go. Here it is. Like here he turned it off while they had their arms in it, and their arms instantly stuck in the sand. But you turn it back on, and you can throw people. They're doing cannonballs into the sand. So that's it when he landed in the sand, cannonballing. So, anyways, my point being, this is actually scientifically possible to liquefy sand and swim through it. So yes. I thought that was an interesting aspect to it.
And that's cool. That makes a lot of sense on that. I did like the fact that we had just another great little adventure with the Mandalorian, and then it still dealt with the overall story arc they're going to be dealing with. And who knows what we're going to see this week, although the teaser on IMDb shows that that skiff in the ocean. So I'm wondering, so he must go back off world, heading somewhere else.
In the ocean. So that would be they're heading to Mon Calamari, I believe, where Admiral Akbar is from. They did show some of that stuff in the previews.
Yeah.
So, and we also get the squibs. Squibs? Aren't squibs Harry Potter?
Well, that too, but they call them squibs, I think, for the they're like squids almost. So
Star Wars or Quill. Wait a minute.
Quill? Okay.
Wait a minute. I don't remember. I'm suddenly blanking.
Yeah.
Squibs. Maybe squibs.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so bad. Squib. I think it's squib. Anyways, I don't know. My brain's not working right now.
Yeah, but again, we don't have anything on the episode itself. I'm trying to bring up the picture here, and I'll see if I can share it real quick. Yeah, here it is. It's if this is actually from the episode, it could be just someone threw that up on IMDb just to have a marker for this week's episode. But if this is it, then maybe I'm on Calamari now.
Oh, that was in the trailer. That scene.
That was in the trailer. So again, it could be just someone throwing at IMDb throwing something up just to have something up with the upcoming episode.
To me, it looks like it's like a fishing vessel. Maybe you see like deckhands like moving barrels in the background, and it's got a very fisherman feel to it. Mm-hmm. So I think that's what they're doing here. And I think in the trailer too, that's where we see the glimpse of Sabine Wren. Yeah. So if that's the case, we might be seeing her in episode 2.
Yeah, and I have a feeling with the Boba Fett, it's something that we're not going to see him again for at least a couple, 3 episodes. They're going to tease him, but we got confirmation it was Boba Fett, not just from all the stuff online, but in the episode, he turns around and walks away. We know it was him that was in season 1 because we hear the spurs. So he's wearing the spurs that you hear move. So we know he is Boba Fett, so they've already kind of explained that before.
And all the scarring on his face, his eyebrows were gone, burnt off. It suggests that acid burns from the Sarlacc.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see where Ming-Na fits in all of this again with her character. So we have a lot of stuff from season 1 we can still see and go from there. So kind of running out of time here, though. We've gone over the hour and
I was thrilled with it, though. It was an excellent thing. I did see some people complain. I don't get this. I don't get it. People are complaining, too much fan service. What other business model is there where it's like, I went to that restaurant. It was a steak restaurant. And you know what? They made a good steak. Too much fan service there. Why are they doing good steaks? That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't get that term fan service, stuff like that. Because I'm going to go, yeah, it should be fan service. They should be going to the fans because the minute they go against everything the fans know, what happens? They're all like, this sucks. Hence episode 8.
It's a franchise. Franchises, whether it's movie franchises, TV franchises, restaurant franchises, they're known for what's on. Like there's a consistency. I don't go to a new Wendy's franchise and they have Whoppers. No, they have Wendy's because guess what? They are serving Wendy's fans. They're paying fan service to Wendy's fans. They're not trying to get the Burger King fans. They're not going to make a Whopper to compete with the Whopper. They're going to do their own burger. And that's what Star Wars is. I don't understand how it's bad to make a good Star Wars product.
Well, I think those are the casual fans, the ones that kind of popped on here and there that never really cared about Star Wars. But those of us that
It's the
kind of that
It's
are
the
are
fans.
fans of the Star Wars, that follow the movies as they are and get upset when they go against what they've already established, then we have a little problem with that. But I personally felt there was no fan service. I felt they told a great story. They told exactly what needed to be told. If you want to call it fan service, that's fine, but it fit everything needed to be set. And again,
And
our
it was
first episode
good.
the first episode of a new season,
Yeah.
and they established where we're at. So if someone came in and didn't know anything, they established everything pretty much through that whole episode of, oh, okay, he's on a mission. He's got to find who this child's people are.
If you're coming into this brand new, I don't think you have to watch season 1. I think you should, just because it's good. But do you have to? I don't think so. I think you could pick up. I think the recap of season 1 was enough at the beginning to say, okay, that's all you need to know. And the Fight Club was awesome. There's so much more to talk about. It was such a great episode. Seeing the Gamorrean.
And they were a little skinnier Gamorrean guards, and actually they're not even guards; they're just Gamorreans. They're a little skinnier than what we know, but they were the smaller ones that were kind of like the MMA fighters.
Fighting ones. These ones are fighting ones, whereas Jabba's are like bouncers. They were big bouncers at a nightclub.
Yeah, pretty much.
They were there for their size and intimidation.
Yeah, and the fight scene was interesting. I'm kind of curious if they were wearing like a personal. Well, it looked like it was either hitting just off the axis, but it kept looking like they also had like a personal shield on almost.
Yeah,
the way it moved around them. So
one thing I read said they were electrified vibro axes. So
okay, well that makes sense then.
Yeah, but I don't know. To me, it looked like they had a shield on. Is what it looked like to me too. But
yeah. But the one got shot and killed really easily. So
yeah, they didn't help him.
Yeah, by the voice of John Leguizamo.
Yeah, that was a really good character too. That was another flashback where, in the original cantina scene, there was a Cyclops.
Yeah, in
the monster gallery there. So
yeah, Favreau and Filoni, they really reach back and bring a lot of stuff forward. Yeah. That you see to give and we realize where it's from. It's like, oh man, how cool is that? Because it's glimpses.
I'm totally geeked for it. And one last thing, non-Star Wars, I watched episode 2 of Star Trek Discovery. Loved it.
Yes,
I agree. Those strongest episodes are when Michael Burnham's are not in them.
Yep,
it was a great episode. But we'll talk about that another week.
Yeah, we'll catch on that. I think the next several weeks we'll be hitting a lot of Mandalorian guys, so hopefully you stick with us, and we'll try not to bore you too much with that. So, hey, thanks for joining us, everybody. Glad if those that stuck afterwards, if we're going along, we will see you guys next week.